It's 8:40. We're back with Monica Lewinsky's first television interview in 10 years.
She is speaking out in a new documentary for the National Geographic Channel, and NBC's Craig Melvin is here with an exclusive first look. Craig, good morning. Good
Savannah,
to see you.
Matt, good to see you guys as well. Earlier this month, the former White House intern, she wrote in Vanity Fair that it was time to, quote, bury the beret and burn the blue dress and move forward. In this documentary, the 90s, the last great decade, she speaks candidly about a variety of subjects. In one clip, she talks about the day that the infamous 445-page Starr report was released, revealing those salacious details about her relationship with former President Clinton.
That was one of the worst days of my life. I was a virgin to humiliation of that level until that day.
I'm not even going to get into what, I don't know, you know.
Prosecutors cite at least 13 instances in which he touched her in very intimate ways.
To have my narrative ripped from me and turned into the Starr report, and things that were turned over or things they delved out of my computer that I thought were deleted. I mean, it was just a violation after violation.
There were nights, because I had young children and I was a parent first, where I called home and just said, maybe this is a good night to mute the first part of the broadcast or keep the television off.
I was the most humiliated woman in the world.
Lewinsky then goes on to talk about the ensuing media firestorm and the high cost of her new and unwanted fame.
To be in the vortex of this media maelstrom was quite alarming and frightening. It was confusing. I think a lot, too, had to do with the fact that I was a woman.
Hello, my name's Monica.
To be called stupid and a slut and a bimbo and ditzy, and to be taken out of context. It was excruciating.
The public decides what it wants to view, and we are always entertained most by our own interactions in life.
The presidency itself had become the entertainer-in-chief, and it made it a better story, and it made him a more exciting character to be a guy who fooled around with an intern in the Oval Office.
She also opens up about some thoughts that she had about suicide, whether she thinks that Bill Clinton owes her an apology. All of this starts next Monday on National Geographic.
Interesting. She says it's time to bury the beret and burn the blue dress or whatever. Does she talk at all about whether speaking out like this will accomplish that?
She does
or
not.
Will it just kind of rekindle a lot of the talk?
No, and we've seen, because, for instance, last night there were some pictures that surfaced this morning. She was at a party in London. She seems to be making a concerted effort now to put herself back out there a bit more. Over the past 10 years, she's been out of the public eye for the most part, not so much now.
Yeah, but for her, with the price of admission, anytime she does re-enter the public eye, is talking about this subject. This documentary is all about the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a look at a lot of different things.
Yesterday, we took a look at some of the music of the 90s. Yeah. Matt was a big fan of the Macarena. We looked at that. We looked also, Jerry Springer, the O.J. Simpson trial, Seinfeld. I mean, for those of us who like to wax nostalgic about the 90s, 3 nights of it next week on National Geographic.
All right, Craig, thanks very much. And again, the 90s, the last great decade, starts Sunday, 9 p.m. on, as Craig just mentioned, in National Geographic.
That was one of the worst days of my life. I was a virgin to humiliation of that level until that day.
A mix of sexual discussion that leaves nothing to the imagination and exchanges that more closely resemble the theater of the absurd.
Well, I'm not even going to get into what, I don't know, you know.
Prosecutors cite at least 13 instances in which he touched her in very intimate ways, including one episode involving a cigar. The report also alleges sex while the president was on the phone with 3 different members of Congress.
To have my narrative ripped from me and turned into the Starr report, and things that were turned over or things they delved out of my computer that I thought were deleted. I mean, it was just a violation after violation.
The details are tough to take, decidedly not for the faint of heart, certainly not for children. There were nights, because I had young children and I was a parent first, where I called home and just said, maybe this is a good night to mute the first part of the broadcast or keep the television off.
I was the most humiliated woman in the world.
There is Lewinsky's X-rated testimony with new details about the president. He told her he'd been with hundreds of women.
It was a coarsening. You can't go back and unthink and unvisualize what we all had to visualize. This was the president, and all in all, what an awful chapter. We're still paying for it.